Narcissists' intimate deceptions, narcissistic sex patterns. There is no greater evil than a lack of self-control. Epictetus. In today's video, we'll explore how narcissists view intimacy and sex, truths that reveal their distorted perspective. This insight provides practical Stoic tools to protect your inner peace. These lessons aren't abstract ideas, but actionable ways to master your emotions, transform your perspective, and safeguard your dignity. I urge you to listen to the end. The final lesson may be the most unexpected yet transformative. Let's explore 7 patterns of the narcissist's peculiar intimacy and 3 principles to deal with these patterns. Narcissistic sex pattern 1. The bait and switch. The narcissist uses intimacy like bait, lavishing attention initially to secure devotion. But once hooked, they withdraw all affection. It's a cruel bait and switch. Imagine an angler luring a hungry fish with tasty bait. But when the catch is made, the angler rips the hook out, leaving the fish to bleed alone. The narcissist casts their line with false intimacy, mirroring your desires perfectly. But once devotion is secured, they gut you emotionally, discarding all pretense of care. As Epictetus said, demand not that events should happen as you wish, but wish them to happen as they do happen, and you will go on well. We must accept the narcissist's limitations with dignity. Narcissistic sex pattern. 2. Intermittent reinforcement. The narcissist rewards intimacy sporadically like a slot machine, keeping you hooked by the elusive chance of winning affection again. It's a classic conditioning technique called intermittent reinforcement. Like gamblers compulsively feeding coins hoping for a jackpot, you frantically try to regain those scraps of intimacy. Seneca urged moderation in pleasure, saying, "Set aside a certain number of days in which you shall be content with the scantiest fare, with plain and coarse dress, saying to yourself the while, 'Is this the condition I feared?'" Don't debase yourself begging for narcissistic crumbs. Narcissistic sex pattern 3. Transaction, not bonding. The narcissist views intimacy as a transaction, not an act of bonding and love. To them, your body is merely a commodity they're entitled to. Imagine haggling at a marketplace. The narcissist regards intimacy like bartering, giving you just enough affection to get what they want in return, but no more. As Marcus Aurelius said, when you wake up in the morning, tell yourself, the people I deal with today will be meddling, ungrateful, arrogant, dishonest, jealous, and surly. Don't take the narcissist's transactions personally. Narcissistic sex pattern 4. Leverage and punishment. The narcissist uses intimacy as leverage, rewarding to manipulate, denying to punish. This emotional blackmail keeps you walking on eggshells. Imagine a parent warning a child, "Be good or no dessert for you." The narcissist dangles intimacy like a carrot or withdraws it as punishment. It's coercion masked as conditional love. Epictetus urged accepting reality calmly. Do not seek for things to happen the way you want them to. Rather, wish that what happens happen the way it happens. Detach from the narcissist's manipulations. You deserve real intimacy without games. Narcissistic sex pattern 5. Lack of empathy. The narcissist's lack of empathy allows them to deny intimacy without remorse. Their defective wiring cannot register your devastation. Imagine someone obliviously stepping on ants while walking. The narcissist cannot comprehend the injury inflicted when they withdraw intimacy. To them, you are just an object that occasionally satisfies their needs. Marcus Aurelius said, "Choose not to be harmed, and you won't feel harmed. Don't feel harmed, and you haven't been." Release resentments about their callousness. Their disorder prevents empathy. It's not about your worth. Narcissistic sex pattern 6. Adulation, not intimacy. Intimacy requires vulnerability, but the narcissist craves only adulation. They want performance, not true connection. Imagine a ravenous lion devouring its prey. The narcissist consumes your adulation through intimacy, but once sated, loses all interest. As Epictetus said, do not demand that things happen as you wish, but wish that they happen as they do happen, and you will go on well. Accept the limits of this one-sided dynamic with grace. Detach from craving true reciprocity. Narcissistic sex pattern 7. The false self. Your positive reactions to the narcissist reflect their idealized false self-image. They are addicted to this validation, so even when intimacy seems reciprocal, it is still ultimately self-serving. They are reveling in your admiration of their facade, not connecting to your true self. Marcus Aurelius said, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." Pity the narcissist's fragile ego, which requires constant external validation. Let go of resentment for their false intimacy. Principle 1. The greater purpose. The narcissist's disorder serves a hidden purpose. Their distorted intimacy reveals our unconscious needs and triggers. Like a magnifying glass focusing light, the narcissist's pathology intensifies patterns that help us confront our inner shadows. As Seneca said, difficulties strengthen the mind as labor does the body. Reflect calmly on what distorted intimacy triggers in you. Cravings for love, validation, worthiness. This offers profound insight into inner work. Principle 2. Self-validation. The narcissist's rejection of intimacy reflects their disorder, not your worthiness. You do not need them to validate your value. Imagine a blind person claiming a Van Gogh is worthless because they cannot see it. The narcissist's limitations reveal nothing about your beauty as a person. Epictetus said, "Happiness and freedom begin with a clear understanding of one principle. Some things are within our control, and some things are not." You control your self-worth. Don't hand this power to a disordered narcissist. Principle 3. Non-attachment. Ultimately, detach from craving intimacy or love from such a spiritually stunted source. This non-attachment is liberating. Imagine desperately chasing a mirage in the desert. There is no substance to grasp. Let go of these exhausting illusions. Fill your own wellspring with self-love. As Marcus Aurelius said, "The best revenge is not to be like your enemy. Release resentment and detach in peace." You cannot extract blood from a stone. Be free of futile expectations. In summary, use the narcissist's distorted intimacy to turn inward. Their disorder reveals our unconscious wounds and dependencies. By filling ourselves with self-love, we can detach in peace. This emotional freedom is the greatest gift of all. I hope these lessons bring you clarity and empowerment. Please share any other insights on recovering from the narcissist's peculiar intimacy. Together, we can heal and transcend these relationships. The journey starts with recognizing our worth. You deserve so much more. Wishing you peace and understanding.